to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thanks so much for coming on my show, Des.
Well, thanks for having me.
So I love seeing your face everywhere, and I'm like, who is this beautiful girl that's running for Clovis City Council?
Thank you. It's weird seeing it that big. I almost feel like I have fat heads all over town, right?
We could make a bobblehead.
Yeah, you know.
That would have been a great campaign thing to do.
I could have done that and raised some money because these things are like weddings, you know? It's
I know, right?
A regular cake. $50. It's for a campaign party. Oh, that'll be $500.
Oh my goodness! And you're funding this by yourself?
I mean, primarily I've had some generous donations, but for the most part, I want to get your vote, not your money, and then, God willing, I win. Maybe I'll do like a delete the debt party, and if people want to throw checks at me, I'll take them.
That is crazy. So, what made you decide to do all this?
Oh gosh, it's kind of like a happy combination of a bunch of stuff. So, Clovis is just such a beautiful city, and I decided to plant roots here. I wasn't born and bred here. I grew up in Huron, and Huron's a whole different beast of its own, but I'm thankful for where I did grow up. But now that I have a 2- and 3-year-old, I want to make sure that they have a city that's going to be safe, a city where they have opportunity, and, just a city that loves them back. And so we've always had it solid, and then with there being 3 open seats, that's just really concerning because that disrupts the governance. That's a majority vote, right? So that can change one thing from another on, parks.
So explain to our viewers about the 3 seats, because this is a little bit new, or we haven't always had this. How does that work?
Yeah, so with 3 open seats on your ballot, and we're on the back of the ballot, you'll see 10 names and a write-in. You get to pick your top 3. And with that, the top 3 out of all the votes will get the seats on the council.
And then, so we really have to know these 10 people.
Yeah.
And why we should vote for them. And so what's the problems with voting? You said we could vote for one and not others. And what happens if someone votes for 4? Does the whole thing get dismissed?
Their ballot would be kind of like, sent back. It's an issue with like a voided ballot.
Exactly.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. So we need to really know who we're voting for, but you can vote for just one if you want to vote for just one.
Yes, you can vote for just one. I'd appreciate it if you just voted for Des. Just kidding. Exercise your right to vote, and definitely make sure that you're looking into the candidates, ask the questions. I mean, I have my cell phone number, my email, my Facebook, my Instagram. You can DM me, call me, text me. I always have my phone in hand, and it's, know who you're voting for, because for the next 4 years or longer, that's going to be who's making the decisions.
We're going to be stuck with you for the next 4 years.
Yeah. Hopefully you're stuck with me.
And so Clovis, is it a lot like Huron, like growing up? Because it's a small town vibe. Tell us how it parallels.
It's not really like Huron. I mean, it's small. This is like LA compared to Huron that got into the big city. Huron, there's just a lot of sense of community and a sense of pride, and I would say that is the same with Clovis. Huron and Coalinga kind of blend together, and Huron and Coalinga are like kind of Fresno and Clovis, except you're a mile apart. They're about 18 miles apart. There's not a high school in Huron, so everybody goes to Coalinga, and my family kind of lived both places. So I had teen parents, so I kind of was at grandma's house a lot, or all this, because my mom still went to college and all that. That's
great. And you have 6 brothers, pretty much.
Yeah. So I have a cousin. His name's Mark, but he's older, and my family raised him, and he was like my guiding light, my big brother, and just did so much. He's 3 years older than I am. I have my brother Pete, who's a year younger. My brother Fabian, he is, I want to say about 8 years younger than I am. 9 years younger, and then Ray is 11 years younger, and then I have some stepbrothers, Bo and Sterling, that kind of came in the mix as well.
So a big family.
Yes.
So how is this all going to help you with your run?
With growing up with brothers, I was I wasn't afraid to take a punch every now and then, and dealing with contentious conversations, and being able to stand up for what you believe in, because hey, I was going to watch TV first. Not that that's the same.
You do a lot to get heard, though, right?
I mean, with a voice like this, it's not hard to be heard because it's very shrill. But I made it known, and I think that with translating how I grew up from a small town, my family did own businesses. I had to see about advocating for yourself and advocating for the people you care about. And I care about Clovis. I love this city, and that's why you'll see Clovis first, Clovis always on a lot of my signs. Because if you lead with Clovis first, Clovis will always have that Clovis feel, which translate into the Clovis way of life.
Well, I love Clovis. What are some of the things that you hope to do for Clovis if in that scene?
You know, my top priority, hands down, is economic growth and development. I think that we need more jobs here. We need more opportunities so that we can have more revenue, because then the revenue can fund other things like public safety, which is my second top priority. I think every priority is a priority where they fall. One helps more than others, but without generating revenue into our city, then that's when you have to pass a tax ballot that goes on to the people. And I think that, you know, after recovering after a pandemic, it's just really, really important to be able to advocate for our constituents and our citizens in the best way possible, knowing the legislation that's out there. So, you know, I'm privy to, with what I do for work, I sit on some legislative committees, I'm involved with caucuses, I'm involved with, you know, organizations.
What is your work?
So I handle strategic partnerships for SiteLogic, and we're an energy services company. And so in my role, I'm tasked with kind of being the face of the company and determining, taking it to obviously our higher ups about this is why I think we need to get in this organization, or this is the legislation that's coming out that might impact our industry, and this is kind of a stance that I believe that we should take on it. So kind of just getting down to the nitty gritty of the industry, marking trends and seeing how it's going to be impacted. Because ultimately, if we're going out to do an energy project to a city or a school district that doesn't have the funds, we should be able to be like, hey, well, there's this grant, or there's this legislation, or there's X, Y, and Z that is out there to help you.
So you find people the money?
Yes.
So you're going to find Clovis the money?
Absolutely. I'll do everything I can.
That.
Literally anything I can. So, you know, one of my like weird hobbies is actually like looking at grants and bills and legislation and seeing
that's
like,
a
okay,
super normal hobby.
Yeah, you know, everybody does it. It's like Instagram and your assembly page and legislative today and what's on the committee. So, you know, I think that knowing what's going on and not just kind of waiting for that footnote voter guide or waiting till it's time to vote is huge. So, you know, we just ended legislative session at the end of August, and I saw bills evolve from nothing into something to be mixed with something, and it's just, I have a better understanding of the dynamics of it, and I think that gives me a unique perspective as a potential council member. And
then you'll help the rest of us understand all of that?
Oh, absolutely. So, like, a goal of my husband's and I's is just to start a nonprofit that actually teaches, like, financial literacy to rural communities. So whether it be through knowing finances on how investing $20 can help make you money, or even, you know, knowing what grants are out there to help you, what programs are available to you within your community. So, you know, people say everything's in Fresno. There are things available in Clovis. It's just about knowing how to access that. And I think that as a council member, it's our responsibility to support the staff, because our staff at City Hall and with the city, they work so hard to make sure that we can have this beautiful little gem of the valley, as I call it. We need to advocate for our staff as well as advocating for our community members. So if, you know, through contacts or networking, we can find, hey, these people are willing to put together a workshop for your community to be able to teach them or show them this, we should be able to access that.
And who's endorsing you? Or there's some firefighters endorsing you?
Yes. So I do have the endorsement of our local firefighters, which I'm very, very proud of. And we're actually going to be doing a trunk or treat Friday. What is that, the 28th?
I'll be there.
Yes, at Farmers Market. I think we're going to be just right by the Old Town Cafe. And it'll be us. We're going to have candy for the kids. We're working on, you know, getting a face painter and stuff out there, just so that, you know,
so you guys can see both of us.
Yes.
Across the street, across the...
Yeah, we'll have like a tug of war match or something.
We'll throw candy at each other.
Yeah. I'll see if I can throw some popcorn in there. You know, and then I do have the Clovis Employees Association's endorsement, which is tremendous and recommended by the Fresno Bees board.
Love that.
Which was really, really awesome. And honestly, being a newer face and a younger candidate, because I think I'm the younger by 10 years.
And you're female, you're young, you're new. There's a lot of challenges coming your way.
And you know, I think that there is like a lot of mystery, because, you know, I'm new, I'm young, I'm Latina. Everybody's just like, what's really going on here? And, you know, to me, it's just about Clovis. Clovis first, Clovis always. Making sure that my daughters grow up at somewhere where I'm comfortable with being like, yeah, go to your friend's house or to the park, and because I know you're safe. I know that the police response time's there, that the firefighters can be there, you know, and that's what I want for my city.
And how you want to answer this, what do you think Clovis is lacking? I know we love Clovis, but if you're like, if I could change this about Clovis and make this there, well, what are some of the things you'd like to see change in that respect?
You know, I don't think we're lacking anything. I think it's just more awareness of what's going on with our city, making sure that people know that equity through opportunity is there. We have the opportunity, and being able to provide more of that. You know, we do more jobs is great. We're growing housing-wise like crazy, but we have to make sure that those people work here. You know, we're not Fresno's suburb, and I know that sounds kind of harsh, but it's true. We're not. We deserve the revenue of the people that live in our city. So definitely jobs and opportunity to work. And I'm not, you know, retail jobs are great because even that 16-year-old kid could be giving back to his city that way. But also, you know, there's a lot of engineering firms moving into Clovis because it's where their employees work. Bringing more things like that here. You know, Andy Hausler does a tremendous job at advocating for our city and kind of being like the salesman of Clovis, right? Coming in and getting these businesses to come, however it may be. But it's a long process. You know, I think that even with the Costco moving, it was like 5 years of negotiation, but a year from once it moved to like being built. So it is a long process, and it's not going to happen overnight, but the way that you ensure that that happens is by making sure that your council work together to be able to provide those opportunities.
What about, I know this isn't maybe more of a school district thing, but about Clovis schools versus Fresno schools, making sure that your kids get to stay in the Clovis schools and we're not getting a lot of the Fresno people in the Clovis schools. How are you going to like help navigate that, or is that not really a concern?
And schools, I sit on the legislative committee for Coalition of Adequate School Housing, which is, they primarily work with school facilities, but you know, Don Ulrich has been a huge proponent of change on that, and you know, he's with CSFRI, and I'm privy to a lot of the conversations. Clovis is doing a phenomenal job advocating. You know, Doc, he said there's no reason we shouldn't have state-of-the-art facilities here in Clovis, and if you build it, they will come. And if you sustain it, it will remain the same and grow equally. So I think that the way you know, again, that's a school board thing, but I think that there has to be a hand-in-hand partnership with the city, and we do that. I would like to see it be a little bit more in depth, which, you know, it depends on how realistic it is for the foundations and the boards to be able to make that schedule work. But in order to advocate for our city, we have to advocate for our future, and that's for our kids.
And you have 2 kids?
Yes, 2 and a 3-year-old. They'll be 3 and 4. 4 on Thursday, Joey, my daughter, and then 3 on Monday on Halloween is Frankie, my little Frankenstein.
So what would you like to say, like, okay, so you get to be here for your run, and then they're like, you know, 6, 7, and you get to be like, I did that, your mom did that. What would you like to say about that?
I don't think it's so much your mom did that, it's so much like I helped. I think that there's a lot of things that, you know, I wouldn't do in life, but the absolute thing that I wouldn't do is not help. I think that, you know, win, lose, or draw, and if there's someone in need of help and I can do that, that's what I'm going to do. You know, I'm a believer, and by faith, I think that you treat everybody as you would want to be treated. And you know, I want my daughters to be able to say, hey, you know, my mom helped and worked collaboratively, because ultimately on a council,
right,
that's what's important. I can do that too. Because our kids are in such a weird time right now that it's fentanyl, this OnlyFans, that, you know,
right,
like
right,
weird things are, our kids are like, not our day, right? And I want them to be able to be confident enough in themselves to be like, no, I can stand up and say, hey, I don't think that's cool, and not feel like I'm going to be judged by society for it. So, you know, I'm 33 years old, and a lot of my circle is like, what the heck are you getting yourself into? And it's like, hey, if I'm not going to stand up, don't talk about it, be about it. So as long as I'm leading with faith and I'm doing what I feel God has called me to do, then I think that I'll be right by that. And it's something that I would be proud for my daughters to follow that example.
I love that. That's great.
Thank you.
And we're both, I know that you're not running on a party. Yeah. Would you say you're not party generated? You're more towards policy?
Yeah, policy over party is definitely a big thing. And, you know, I tend to align a little bit more fiscally conservative, socially, be good to people, you know, follow God in your heart. And, you know, if you don't believe in God, just do what's right. I think that it is a fundamental misconception in politics that you have to be in a party in order to serve a city best. Cities are nonpartisan positions. I think it'd actually be a completely different election if people couldn't show what party they're part of, because what works for LA does not work for us. So
exactly, yeah.
For instance, you know, Party A and Party B. Party A may have these huge ideas that they're running behind and getting behind in policy that's going to serve an LA or a San Diego or a San Francisco or a Riverside. But that might not necessarily work for Clovis. And it's an uphill battle within your own party sometimes to be like, well, that doesn't actually work for my city. So I think especially with running, being a policy over party means like, okay, well, convince me. Both sides. Convince me as to why I should support this. Because at the end of the day, data and numbers don't lie. And what serves Clovis is going to be what's best.
And as a fiscal conservative, this is where I get, you know, my eyebrows raised about different things. I knew they were trying to get more parks, and like, well, we have enough parks. I have a lot of parks that are not being utilized. I think, you know, the one on like Barstow and DeWolf. You know, I used to do boot camp there, that's why I bring that up. And I loved it. It's a nice, clean park. And so I'm like, well, do we really need to put more money into getting this one? How do you want to redistribute money in terms of like, have you thought about stuff like that?
Well, I mean, I think our general plan needs to be updated with what we're going. But, you know, the general fund is the general fund, and it's like this pie. The pie's not going to get any bigger. It's just how you're going to cut each slice. And that's where a collaborative council and transparency within your organization. So with our department heads and our staff and being like, look at what's really going on. This is where we're at. You know, right now, public safety takes up about 87% of our budget. I don't think they need any less. But I do believe that we need to advocate for our city and finding those dollars out there. And that's why economic growth and development is huge, because then we bring in more revenue to our city. So then that pie actually does get bigger. I can't say that I would be an advocate for cutting down an opportunity for a kid to go outside and play, because growing up in Huron, that's all we had. You know, I was blessed to where my family could go on trips and we did a lot of stuff, but, you know, that vitamin D and just God-given ability to go out there and kick a ball around or play dodgeball, I think that's actually what society is lacking, is kids being outside and breathing and not just glued to a tablet or a cell phone.
In this day and age, you're right.
Don't get me wrong. If you see me, sometimes the girls might have an iPad because, hey, mama needed that that moment. But, you know, there are different resources out there, especially right now with getting kids outside, and for mental health, there's different grants. You know, and everybody does want to say, I'm going to bring all these grants to Clovis. At the end of the day, if we're not eligible because of our demographics or our rates, it's about finding something that we are eligible for and then going after that. Or, you know, I working with your higher up legislators and being like, hey, you know, let's get something for Clovis out here. You know, I get it. There's a lot going on, but there's a lot going on here too. And just not being afraid to, closed mouths don't get fed, right?
Right.
So making sure that works.
One of the ways we can get more revenue, when you said about like building a business, what are some of the things that you would like to see?
So, I mean, the way that the city has it right now, there's different fees, you know, the impact fees from the developers that they have to pay in order to develop something. And, you know, a lot of times in residential, they pass that on to the buyer because you pay that in when you purchase the home. It's a little bit different with the developers when they're developing commercial property, because they kind of pay for that all in its own right. So they might need to put up $30 million up front when they only really need to develop that $7 million right now, but based off growth, eventually it'll be there. So not necessarily giving away the farm, but looking at it on a case-by-case basis and saying, okay, so we do have this housing going up now. How can we actually get in there and look at it to where those people have somewhere to work, or, you know, they're not having to travel X amount of miles to get to this store or wherever it may be. So I think that will really be a tough aspect moving forward for whichever council members are elected. But I do believe that that is something that should be a top priority in looking at, because, you know, our firefighters, they you know, they need more guys, they need more money. Our police officers need more guys and they need more money, and it's about quality over quantity. So making sure that we have those people that are going to be able to be out there and say, hey, we can come out here and we're not so stressed out that we can't live that Clovis way of life.
Right.
Because, you know, we're compensated well, we're treated well, we're not overworked, and that's all going to come down from revenue brought into the city.
And so we got farms, we got a hospital, we got a Costco, like you said, we got our gyms, we have the mom and pop businesses like I work for, some bars. What are some of the other things that you would like to see added to that?
You know, the medical is a booming industry right now, and there's a lot going on, and I think community's doing a great job, as well as with the private college that's out there, to being able to like make this shining beacon of research and technology in the Central Valley. You know, it's about anybody and everybody and making sure that it works well for Clovis. So like I said, there's engineering firms that need to be out there. Maybe CMAC wants to get a studio out in Clovis.
I would love to see that. Thank you.
You know, and there's some vacancies in some places.
I would definitely love to see that. Thank you.
Cut the feed. Get her. No, you know, I think it's about the opportunity, and it's about letting people know, hey, Clovis is accessible. It really, really is.
I mean, more of an arts district too, like Tower has, because a safe arts district.
Yeah. You know, anything that will actually help our residents be more involved in their community, because I think that people want to talk about old Clovis and new Clovis. Old Clovis, you know, they saw it grow, and it was like the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that.
Right.
They think new Clovis is very unappreciative of what, you know, they have, and it's like, you know, the Loma Vista area is coming up and booming, and there's a plan to build and develop that. So let's take that and put the same effort and care into it. And if you build it, they will come. And I think that what we need to do is just be a better advocate of that. You know, every council person, every staff of the city, every citizen should be a walking commercial for Clovis. You know, growing up in Huron or a small town, it's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to get out of here. I mean, I still love going back home, but I necessarily didn't choose to have my kids live there because there's not a lot of opportunity. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity, but at the same time, that like heart feel, right?
Right.
You go to farmers market and you see the same people, and you go into, you know, see Cora at the ice cream place, and my daughters just hustle me every time as soon as we walk by there. But it's, you know, it's a part of history, and I think that there's something to be said about that. Something to be said about these businesses that have been there forever, that you could walk in and just feel the nostalgia, but at the same time, it's like, you know, they're progressing and they're thriving, and being able to advocate for that.
Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Oh, well, thank you for having me anytime.
So everybody vote Des Haus right here?
Yes, Des Haus, Clovis first, Clovis always. I think I'm number 8 on the ballot, but, you know, fill out your ballots, turn them in. Friday we will be at Farmers Market tomorrow, Wednesday.
Yeah,
Well,
tomorrow, yeah.
So, yeah, tomorrow. So, you know, I want to make sure that everybody knows I'm here to serve Clovis. I don't have aspirations to go up, and I'm looking for our local endorsement from our local community members, because that's what's important.
Thanks for coming on my show, Nathan. I've wanted you for a long time.
And I've wanted to be here for a long time, and it just hasn't worked out, so I totally appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Because you do live far away. So you're like, how far away is Kalinga?
It's probably like 70 miles. Yeah, it's all the way over by the I-5, halfway in between LA and San Francisco. And yeah, we have hills in between us. We have cows at Harris Ranch. You ever ate at Harris?
I love it, of course.
Harris is amazing. Yes.
Are you, were you born and raised?
So, I was born in Lincoln, Nebraska, And at about the age of 15, I moved to Coalinga. So I've been there for a while. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go to high school in Coalinga, but I've lived the greater portion of my life in Coalinga, so I say I'm a Coalingan.
So is Coalinga actually bigger than where you grew up in Nebraska?
No, I grew up in a larger city. Lincoln it's kind of a city life over there.
Okay.
But we have a lot of rural city areas.
I know,
so
that
I'm used to
like.
that. Yeah, no, yeah. So actually Coalinga is a little bit less rural even than some of the farm towns that surround Lincoln. So, we'd have dances and things like that where it's all country music, all, farming, miles of corn, miles of alfalfa. So, but Coalinga's a little bit different. They farm different stuff, tomatoes and things like that around there. Lately, I ain't farming nothing. I mean, unfortunately, with the water situation.
So tell us about that. What is the situation? I know it's like very bad in Madera, very bad over here. So what's going on in Coalinga with water?
So what's going on in Coalinga with water is that when I first got on council in like 2014-15, we had 10,000 acre-foot contract with USBR. That's a federal contract.
Okay.
Okay. And it seems like that from then that they've been asking us to save, ever since then, 30% here, 60% there, and that now, at the moment, instead of having the 10,000 square acre feet, we have around 2,200 square acre feet, which they're saying now is only to be used for health and safety. And unfortunately, that's not enough water, especially when we have a state hospital and we have a prison that are right there that use anywhere from 26 to 30% of our water. So it's kind of a big deal with our residents. When I joined in 2014, 15, like I said, we were probably getting 6,000 to 8,000 square acre feet, and they came, and when I mean they, I mean the State Water Resources Board. Should I get technical?
Yeah.
Yeah? You want it?
We talk about
you want the technical?
Yes,
okay, let's get technical. Okay, so they had told us we need to make our town brown. Like no watering the grass, no nothing, no, And so the council at the time said, no, that's not what we're going to do. And we want you to call in the State Water Resources and talk to us, tell us what's going on. And because we had been hearing things from, William Bordeaux and Harris and the rest of the farmers that, hey, they were sending the water to the ocean for a fish. And, we wanted to hear it right out of their mouth. And so Betsy Litchie was the lady that was in charge at the time, and she came to Coalinga, and they gave us their spiel on why we needed to save and why we couldn't have, green grass and all that. And so Mayor Pro Tem at the time, his name was Patrick Keogh, he just asked her straight up. He said, I hear that, they're sending 65% of our water to the ocean. And she said, oh, no, that's not true. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. She's like, it's 75%. And it's to create a saltwater barrier. And we were shocked at that. And I told her, I told them at council, I was like, well, we're not going to ruin our town and make this a place that people don't want to come. We're not going to do this, basically. And at the time, there was, a threat, which all it was a threat, was, hey, well, we have leverage here. We have a hospital and a prison, and maybe we won't give them water. These are state agencies that need water.
Right.
Maybe you guys figure out how to give them water, and we'll keep that water. And, we conserved, but it wasn't a deal where everyone stopped watering. And one of the deals back then was, that I had said is that we're going to have trees falling on the ground.
Yeah.
And literally, 2015, 2016, we had trees falling on cars. We had trees falling on houses.
No way.
Yes.
Just from that.
No,
wow.
And I'm talking completely uprooted because the wind storms came in and the trees had no water, so they were dead at the bottom. Even though they had, at the top, they looked green, but no, they went right over. And so lots of people had issues with that. Whether it was that they didn't have a place to live because they had a big hole in their house, or whether or not they didn't have a car to drive. Yeah, and This is a deal. We went around and counted, and one time there was like 5 or 6 that were, just in one windstorm that did that. And so, we have been fighting this for quite some time, and let's fast forward to 2022. They say the water's only for health and safety, and, I guess there was a really smart lady, very intelligent and educated. She's actually our superintendent, and she was on a show probably a month ago or so, and she said, well, this is having water on the ground for turf is a health and safety issue. And she brought the best point that I've heard. She said, you know, she had valley fever, and it took like part of her lung.
Oh my goodness.
Valley fever's in the dirt. It's a fungus.
Right.
Right. So if we don't have turf on top of that dirt, then the dirt blows around. And so it absolutely is a public safety issue. And I had never thought about that before. And so I give her mad props on that. She was the one who came up with that. And I think, you know, it's such a big deal that the state has actually taken a lot of our prisoners that are susceptible, that they say are susceptible to valley fever, and they've moved them elsewhere.
Wow.
Right. So a lot of the prison is empty with people that they had moved elsewhere, at the same time that they're saying you can't have, you know, green grass. And our residents they're really mad. People are really angry because they've spent thousands of dollars on their lawns, one, to make them look nice, and two, probably because, you know, the health and safety issue. And so now they're once again saying, hey, you can't water. So we have an ordinance right now that the council passed that said no watering in the front lawn. You can water the back for some reason. I don't understand this, but you can't water the front. And so they have code enforcement going around giving people like warnings and telling them that they can't water. And of course, I'm like up in arms, like, hey, when I was in charge and they came and told us this, we told them no. We told them we're not doing this. And it seems like we only have a couple council members that are actually going to Sacramento and fighting and saying, and of course Sacramento's not in session right now, but when it was, you know, talking to those electeds, you know, talking to Congress, you know, people like Deva Valdeo, that was able to actually get us more water in Coalinga. We were down short about, I think it was 1,200 square acre feet was how much we were going to be shy. And I think he got us around 500. And I think they used the leverage of the prison and the state hospital in order to do that. That took people writing letters.
Wow.
Yeah, one of our Councilman Adam Atkinson, really did a lot of the hard work himself. And he went and he, you know, made those types of things happen along with the city manager and people like that. But my thing is that the whole council should be doing this. You know, we really need to get our message out. And so that's why I'm happy that you allowed me to come on your show, because it's perfect timing to get the message out that we need water, and it is a public safety issue.
So what do you need all of us to do at this point?
Actually, what we need to do is we need people to talk to the representatives in Sacramento and say, hey, we have to so we have a couple different issues here. One, you know, it's been drought in California. We've always had water issues. 100 years we've had water issues.
Yeah, and I remember 25 years ago covering this stuff, so I was like, I can't even believe, like, it's only gotten worse.
It's only gotten worse.
It's only gotten worse.
Right, so we have, you know, water storage that was meant for 20 million people, and we now have 30 million plus. So that's a problem. We haven't built any new water storage. There was bonds passed that were supposed to be used to create water storage, and they haven't spent the money on the water storage because environmentalists don't like dams. And so my suggestion at the time to Betsy Litchie was, you know, she said, we're sending this water for a saltwater barrier, you know, to help the fish. And I'm like, well, let's put up a dam. Problem solved. Let's put up a dam. That way the salt water doesn't come in. The fish are there. Well, the environmentalists don't want the dam. Okay, so that's one dam.
What's the biggest reason that the environmentalists do not want the dam?
You know, I think that they want things to be able to free flow, and they want fish to be able to move back and forth.
Do you think somehow it's gonna like destroy wildlife, or like is there like?
They could make that. They probably have. Yeah, no, they've probably made that argument before. You know, my argument is people need water more than anything, and so California, and I don't understand it. You know, you go to Sacramento and you look at their grass over there. They got green grass, you know, but here in Coalinga and here in the Central Valley, it seems like everything, and we need food too.
Yeah.
Food,
exactly.
right?
That's why I'm like shocked. I mean, it's come to the point where it's like you're almost getting paid not to farm.
No, they are.
That's what the farmers are saying. So.
Yeah. So that's a big issue. In fact, that's the biggest issue in Coalinga. In fact, that's why I'm running for re-election, is because when I was mayor, made all kinds of contacts with people in Sacramento and people at the federal level that I believe that if we keep harping and we keep telling them our story and we send them our message that this is a public safety issue, that we can get them to listen. You know, unfortunately, this seems to have come to be a thing where you have Democrats and Republicans on opposite ends, and I just can't believe it. That water should be a universal thing.
I don't understand it either.
Doesn't make any sense. You know, why wouldn't we? You know, why wouldn't we want? And I know that there's a couple Democrats, Melissa Hurtado. She's been out there on the forefront trying to fight for water. There's a couple people on the Democrat side that are trying to do this, but
Why are they not?
I don't know. There's a supermajority.
When you talk to them, you don't get this information out?
Well, they don't do a lot of talking to me, unfortunately. I do reach out, though. I reach out to Caballero, reach out to people like that, okay, this is what it is. It's hard. That's a hard issue. That's what I'm told. This is a hard issue. Well, what's hard about it? Well, they don't like dams, So, and it seems like the Central Valley is being punished. It really does.
It really does.
It seems like we're being punished for political views of being a lot of conservatives in this area. And you don't have to be Democrat to be conservative. You can just be a conservative person and have conservative values. Right? And it seems like that those values are under attack. And it seems like water is related to that somehow. And I don't understand. It blows my mind. I would hope that everyone in Sacramento that's listening, and everyone that cares about the state of California would be working together to try and solve a plan on the water.
So we just need to write to Sacramento. That's where it really all comes down to.
Yes, we need everyone to write to Sacramento. There's other things that can be done. If we were to talk about conservation, right? So people are wondering, like, what can we do? Well, how can we help? Well, there's these things called smart meters. There's smart water meters. And, there is absolutely a drought, okay? No one's denying that there's a drought.
Right.
We have drought seasons, right? But these smart meters, what they can do is instead of a mechanical meter that water pushes through it and it moves like this, the smart meter, the water kind of goes through it and then it reads it via sonar. And so what it can do is it can catch leaks, even very small leaks, and it can send it to your phone so you can see it on your phone and it'll alert you and say you have a leak.
How do we get that up in our area?
So those are available. You can either purchase it yourself. You'd probably have to have your city install it. But our city did a pilot program where I was lucky enough to be inside of the pilot program. And I was saying, hey, why don't we spend the ARPA money on this? Why don't we spend CARES Act money on this? Why don't we spend some of the $4 million that we have in reserves on this? It seems like a smart thing to do.
Right.
Right? And I'm telling you, I had a little bitty drip into a dog bowl, and I left it there because my dog, I thought to myself, hey, the dogs, I don't have to water. I can have the dogs drink out of that. No big deal. Little did I know, that was 3 gallons an hour.
Wow.
Right.
So a lot of us might have that. We don't know.
We don't even know.
Wow, okay.
And not even counting the fact that the city themselves has leaks all over the place. And they can tell because they know how much water is coming down and they know how much water they're billing out. And when there's a mismatch in those numbers, and I don't want to say what the number is now because I don't know, but back when I was on council, it was anywhere from 15 to 20% of water that's just completely being wasted.
Wow.
Right, so we need to get a hold of our water at the same time and understand where we're using it. Instead of telling people how they can use their water, tell them what you think they should, how much would a number be that you should be able to use. And I'm not for nannying people's water usage, but it's really not fair to look at it as in a stagnant, like, hey, this is an exact number because let's say they tell you 15,000 gallons is what you can use a month, right?
Right.
Well, let's say someone like me that has 6 people in their family, I'm using that and just a little bit more. But yet someone that doesn't have that many people in their family are using a whole lot less. These are the things that they've talked about. They're like, hey, we're going to make a limit, a threshold, and once you go over those thresholds, we're going to charge you more. And so there's all these little things that are back and forth that the city.
And I heard that that's actually going to come to be with farmlands and everything. If you use over this much, you're going to get
You are.
penalized.
It's unfortunate that's. And to me, I'm just going to say it. It just seems like a giant control mechanism. You want to control the air. You want to control the food. You want to control the water. It's like they're already controlling the air with the carb and the exhaust and all of the taxes that you have to pay at the pump. For your gas tax, and then water controls the food. And so all of these different faucets unfortunately equal us in California paying more than everyone else in the entire country. I mean, it's insane the amount of money that we're paying where I'm from. People would probably just roll in their graves if they understood how much money we're paying. In the summertime for electricity, I'm paying almost, I was before I went solar, $600 to $800 a month.
I believe it, yeah.
And Kalinga, it's hot over there, and of course since, the drought and not a lot of trees makes it even worse.
So when are you running again?
So I'm running for city council, and my opponent pretty much voted yes across the board on taking away water based on the staff reports from with the city.
Wow.
And to me, we could give 1 day of water to the people and still be in almost the same dang boat. Because you figure if you take all the water away and you kill everyone's grass, then people that have had, spent $5,000 and $6,000, and some of them have, on replacing turf and putting really nice grass on there, and they're all dead, at least those folks could save their grass as soon as this, if the drought ever ends. People wonder if it ever ends. But I would not have voted for that. I would have voted to give people at least 1 day of watering in their front lawn, because I believe it is a public safety issue, and I believe that let's say we're able to save $300,000 or $400,000. So here's how much money the water is going to cost. They're thinking anywhere between $1,800 and $2,500 per square acre foot.
Yeah.
And let's put this into perspective, paying in between $100 and $300 a square acre foot, when you buy it off the market to begin with. And this is another one of my issues. Like, why didn't we go to the market to get more water before it was a crisis? Why
didn't we?
Yeah, why didn't we, right? That's my thing. Like, why didn't we? Why didn't council instruct staff, hey, we know we're going to be in a water crisis. Can you guys go look for water now rather than wait? So looking for water and making new contracts with new places for water early would be one thing. Checking the well status. Coalinga used to have wells.
Yeah.
Checking the well status, hooking those up, getting different tubing to come into town, or using the old tubing.
So we kind of need to talk to our city. Everybody needs to talk to their city council person.
Yeah,
to get
exactly.
That in their city.
Exactly.
So we all kind of work together in the Central Valley.
And reclamation of water, and that's a real interesting thing that people don't want to hear. But reclamation of water is taking the water, cleaning it, and then reusing it. And I know that sounds
How do we do
that? It doesn't sound like a good process. A lot of people are not interested in hearing about that, and I don't blame them, because it sounds bad. But basically, you have settling ponds, and they settle the water, and then after it settles, you clean it. And this is water that was wastewater, that was sewage, and you're cleaning the sewage, and then you're going to reuse it again. That way that, a lot of that water that you can reuse rather than, and it costs a lot of money to build places like this. And
I would imagine.
No, it does, but it is doable, and places are doing it. You have to get the people to, and I'm not saying that I'm the person that's going to be the one to get people to think about this and to think that it's a good idea. I'm just saying it's an option that's out there that other places have done.
And we could definitely use it for the farmlands, though.
You could definitely use it for farmlands.
That'd be
yes,
great.
You could.
People are probably thinking, ew, about drinking and everything. But like, we put it in the right area, then it's...
There you go. And so there is options out there, and I'm really frustrated because I feel like we haven't got the smart meters. Why didn't we get the smart meters?
Yeah.
Right? That way people could at least see what they're using and try and conserve if there was this big of an issue. I'm really peeved at the city for not doing the smart meter thing. They've been waiting for a grant that hasn't came around. 2021 they were looking for this. We're darn near in 2023. Why a year and a half later, and we've been in this drought situation for quite some time. So, and then the second thing is we need new water contracts. We're with the feds right now. We should start reaching out and seeing. And then third, we need to get our people to Sacramento, our leaders, to talk to the leaders, up above. I hate to say that, but that they have more power than our leaders do, and say, hey, we need water, and then explain to them, send the message, and say, hey, people are getting sick. We have valley fever. We have other things. Parvo travels in the dirt too for animals, for people that are animal lovers. And so these things in Coalinga, I'm not saying in California that they aren't prevalent, but in Coalinga they're more prevalent. We're listed as a hot spot for those types of things. And you would think that with the people that care about people, that they would want to protect us and they would want to help us. And it just seems like we're not getting that. So I think sending that message is vital.
How do we redo the water contracts?
So, I wouldn't say we're going to be redoing. I'd be saying we're going to add. We have a 10,000 square acre foot contract with USBR right now, which is when we weren't, Coalinga wasn't using all that water. So what we did when I was on council was we made contracts with the farmers so that we could give the farmers any excess water, and they were buying it, for wholesale price. That way, on purpose, when the next time came and they said save 30% from your allocation, at least our allocation was up here instead of down here. Because let's say that we only use 6,000, they're going to say save 30% of 6,000, which puts us way down here. We're using 10 up here because we're giving some to the farmers. That allocation level now, the 30%, is a lot more than what it was. and that allows us to, water things and whatnot. But I'm guessing they figured out that that was the case, and they've just decided to go for the jugular and say, nope, you get no water. To me, it's punishment.
Oh my goodness. So how do we help the city of Coalinga, the whole Central Valley? We just go to Harris Ranch and have dinner? What else can we do?
Unfortunately, Harris is just outside the city limits.
So
and Harris is absolutely my favorite. I've plugged Harris a lot today, but I love eating there. Their steaks are amazing, their food's amazing.
I was there with Eric Roberts, Julie Roberts' brother. We
very
shot
nice.
a movie outside, and we actually stayed there, and so yeah.
So one of the reasons I really like Harris is because William Bordeaux, Vice President of Harris, is on the water thing. He's also the place that we all get the water from, Westlands Water District.
Okay.
He's also on the board of Westlands. And so Harris is an integral part of this because they're constantly fighting for water and trying to tell the state, hey, we need more water. Don't shut those pumps off. Let the water come this direction. So they're in it. And here's the cruddy thing. This is something that I don't know a lot of people know about. But we pay the same money to Westlands to send that water down. In fact, we may even pay a little bit more if it's a drought season because it's harder for them to move it down the delta.
Okay.
And so how we recoup that money as a city is that we sell water back to the customers, to the people in Coalinga, right? So you're selling that water to the people in Coalinga to pay those maintenance fees and to pay for the water fees. Well, if we have to conserve and we're selling less water, we still have to pay that maintenance fee. That means rates go up.
Wow.
On conservation, rates go up.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so now we're going to get hit with a double whammy. Now water's going to cost more because we have to buy it on the open market at the end of the market cycle, and we've been conserving forcefully, and so our rates are going to go up no matter what we do, and it's unfortunate that that's the case. So the fix to that is to get more water immediately. And they aren't going to shut the tap off. For anyone listening, they do not shut the tap off. That's not how this works. They continuously will pull water. And litigation may come in because we're using somebody else's water. It's not technically our water that we're pulling, but they're not going to shut off the tap. That's not happening.
They're just going to punish us for...
They're just going to punish even more. And I don't know exactly where Fresno's at with the water. Do you know? Do you guys have a lot of restrictions up here?
Well, it's working our way. I know Madera got hit really hard. My uncle's doing a lot of crusading on that and putting awareness about that. So everything's kind of gone to a different section. So I think it depends on what section you are in Fresno, but it's really hit hard in the Madera area and then that area of Fresno. So it's all kind of a jurisdiction type of thing. So it's like you're in this area or this area.
That's what I can't understand.
And yeah.
I don't get. That's my thing. Is like it seems like certain people are being punished because certain people have water and certain others don't. Yeah, and I think if we all work together, especially in the Central Valley, since we all seem to get punished differently at different times, that maybe we can send a message, and it shouldn't be a message of Democrat versus Republican or conservative versus liberal. It should be a message of public safety of we need water to eat, the farmers. Oh, you should see how much farmland it has been just turned over into solar farms. And it's very unfortunate.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and a lot of the property value, when it's able to be, when you're able to grow on that property is worth quite a bit of money. But when you're not allowed to grow, the property values go down. And when people have rates that are set that they have to pay, they have a mortgage or a lease on that property, and when they can't pay it, that goes back to the bank, and other people are able to swoop that up for pennies on the dollar.
Oh my goodness.
And a lot of people that are swooping this land up may not have the best interest of our state or our country that are being able to do this, and they're certainly not interested in farming and making food. And so that echoed effect has went nationwide from right here locally in the Central Valley. I never thought that moving from a farm town, Nebraska, where we farm corn, alfalfa, wheat, all of this type of stuff, that I'd move to Coalinga, where they farm different stuff, but then, hey, the impact here is felt across the nation. And to me, that's just amazing. And it's all these little outlining areas, not just Coalinga, it's all Coalinga, Fresno, Mendota, Fowler, all of the areas, Raisin City, all these little itty bitty
towns, all of them.
you know, the Fresno COG, Council of Government, that'd be a good idea of how much, you know, it covers, and then even more. It goes into Madera, and it goes into Merced, and it goes into all those places. And it just seems like from Bakersfield all the way up to Sacramento, that's the area that they unfortunately don't care about.
Oh,
and
my
we're getting
goodness.
punished. And once you go over that hill, it seems like, hey, LA, they're good. San Francisco, Sacramento, they're good. But this area here, and so, you know, we need help. We need to get help from the people out there. You know, write your folks, you know, tell them the situation we're in. And what really helps is explaining the stories, telling them how has this affected you.
Right.
Because those stories get to people, and that's how people relate to others, and the message is all in those stories. And so I want to hear everyone's stories.
Thank you so much for coming on my show, and thank you for your passion. I'm
passionate.
You made the city council, and you better.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm doing the work. I'm talk, walking, knocking. I got flyers out. I got text messages out. I'm doing everything I can. Help me, help you.
Well said.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on my show today, Courtney.
Yes.
Okay, you are like a fitness fanatic. You do it all. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your fitness background.
Okay, so I'm 32. I've been into fitness probably like since I was a teenager. I grew up with a bodybuilder stepdad, so one of my dad.
What an advantage.
Yeah. At times, growing up with a bodybuilder
Right.
can be kind of intense, you know. But so it's kind of been in my life on and off my whole life, but I didn't start taking it serious until probably like 5 years ago. And I lost 30 pounds, and I got, or not 30, 50 pounds after I had my third daughter.
Okay, so you got big because you got pregnant. It looks like that.
Yeah. Well,
And that was probably a lot for you, right?
that was my third kid too. So.
And because you were probably used to being fit, it probably overwhelmed you to like gain.
To gain weight, yeah, that was the heaviest I had been. I was like close to 180, and I'm 5'2", so 5'3" on a good day.
They
So,
were like,
this is a lot. So I lost 50 pounds. That started my journey, and then I did powerlifting for a little bit. That
fun,
was
huh?
It is fun. You feel strong. That part was fun. But I like faster movements. Like it was very like kind of slow pace, and
Yeah.
I was like, it just wasn't for me. I kind of felt lost in fitness for a while, and then I got into bodybuilding. But I'm like the type of person, I just want to be active. Like I just want to be moving. I love yoga. I'm trying to do handstands. So like I just like fitness. Like I just like being well-rounded. I want to be strong, but I want to be fast, and I want to be mobile. You know, I don't want to feel stuck.
So you're teaching me today about what's a little daunting for me, this cupping thing. So what is that's the main thing you do, right?
Yeah, that's the main thing I do is cupping. So it looks scary. It's so funny because I'll have men that are like really big come in, and they're like, I'm scared of the cupping, or I'm scared of the scraping, and I'm like, my 9-year-old asked me to do it all the time before bed on her, so it's like, if she could do it, you're fine, you know. But it's like a hidden tool that like most of us just don't know about, you know, and so it definitely helps speed up our recovery. I'm constantly go, go, go. I have 3 kids, I have my business, and I work out, so I need to recover, and I need to recover fast. You know? So I don't like it when people just put the cups on. You have to warm up the body. Like you warm up the body, you get blood flowing through massage. The scraping comes in to open up and expand the muscles. It's going to release some of the tension. The cupping comes in to pull out the toxins. So when we're working out, we release lactic acid into our muscles. So that lactic acid is going to stay kind of stagnant in there unless we're like getting it out. So the cupping comes in to pull out the toxins in our muscles.
So where do we get it? Every time I see people on it, it's only on the back. Do you only cup the back and not the front?
Well, like you got to think the back is the main source of a lot of people's problems. So their shoulders, their back, their hips.
So that's part of why we're targeting it.
Yeah, and a lot of times you're not going to see it on their legs. The legs, the red marks go away super fast. So you're not going to see it
So
as
the way
much.
the blood flows here is the reason why I see that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you're doing it everywhere.
I do it everywhere. So I'll do it on people's legs. I'll do it on their arms. I do it anywhere where there's like, especially the congestion, the knots, all that stuff. That's where we tend to focus in on. But primarily, that's going to be the back for most people. So that's why you see it there.
But it helps everywhere, right? So if I'm
It
getting
does.
it on my back, it's my whole body's gonna feel it.
It is, but you're going to feel it mainly where it's pulling out that stagnant energy, that's stagnant. So you're going to feel release everywhere, because when I do it, it's like a whole body like massage
Right.
and everything. So you'll feel good everywhere, but you'll feel the big difference in the parts where you have like knots and problem areas.
So what's the difference between this and cryo? Because cryo is kind of like a similar effect of what you're supposed to say. I know it's a completely different process, but what are some of the benefits like here that you've heard of, or that you've even heard from clients?
Yeah, and see, I'm a full on, I love recovery, every part of recovery.
Right.
So I even do ice baths with people, and it's going to be similar to cryo. Yeah. Yeah.
I hate cryo. So I've done it, and I'm just like every time I hit it,
Yeah.
it never feels good anytime.
And see, and it's so cold, and that's going to release like the inflammation from our body. So the icing really helps relieve inflammation.
So is that why that's kind of a little bit different? So what's the difference between this and cupping? I kind of want to know the difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you will feel relief from cryo. It's a little bit faster. It's 3 minutes. So whenever we do the chambers, so it gives you like a burst of energy. It gives you some relief, but
It's supposed to be recovery as well, though.
Yes,
Okay.
it is. But the cupping gets into the muscles. So yes, we're gonna feel like it. The cryo is almost like surface level. So we're getting into it and we're releasing some of the inflammation.
Okay.
But this is actually like moving the body, like the cupping. Because even when I put the cups on, I'll have people move their arms while the cups are on.
Okay.
And they're also or we just do active stuff with it. So it's more of a process to really get deep into it. It's like a deep tissue massage,
Okay.
but
Okay.
now it's getting a little bit more. It's like just the next level past the deep tissue massage.
How often are we supposed to do this for recovery?
So my biggest thing is I always tell people, listen to your body. Your body is going to tell you. If I have people hit me up when they're in pain. Like, it's not so much of like, yes, some people do it as maintenance because my trainers or people who are like super active, or people who, I have a lady who she's did hair forever and her shoulders are like knots in there. So she comes to me a little bit more frequently. But for a majority of people, I tell them to listen to their body. Your body's going to tell you like, okay, I'm not feeling so great anymore. But if it's me, I want to do it maintenancely. So I try to do it every 4 to 6 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
But that's because, like, we're active. We're constantly
But that's not
working.
bad, because I mean, some people are doing cryo weekly. So
Yeah.
to actually just do that 4 to 6.
Yeah, that's a baseline. I mean, if you have problematic areas, once a week is great.
How long does it take to so people usually get an area? What's the standard timeline?
So of how fast they recover.
Well, just how long it even takes
The
come to see you?
I do 60-minute and 90-minute sessions.
Okay.
That way, because I do massage with it and the scraping.
You
so
have a
the-
process. So
yeah,
So that's what we're looking at. Okay, 60 minutes. That's not bad.
Because it's like, and it's not cupping the whole time. It's a full on.
I get it. Okay.
Yeah, because I've been to places though where they just put the cups on you, and I'm like, that does nothing. It's almost like foo-foo feeling, because you have to get
Okay.
blood flow to the area. You want to get it like warmed up. Just imagine like if the blood's already flowing, you're already warmed up, and you got a flow going, it's gonna come in and pull out the toxins a lot better. Versus like if I'm cold, I just came to you and you just put them on. It's not quite the same.
So does it hurt at all? It looks painful.
So I'm not gonna lie, especially if you have problematic areas, we call it spicy. It feels a little spicy. It hurts just a little bit. But other times it feels like it's pulling pressure out, and the moment you release it, it's like all that pressure, all that pain kind of dissipates, and it's instantly gone, and people will feel instantly better, and that's what they're searching
Wow,
for.
that's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, with massages, when you get deep tissue, that hurts as well. So I understand.
Yeah.
There's when you're really working on a problem area, it does hurt. So
Yeah.
I get that.
That problematic area.
Okay, well that's pretty cool.
I had a lady come and tell me, she's like, I've been getting massages done for years, and she was like, it always just felt like relaxing. She's like, this actually felt like you got into my problematic areas and I found release. And I was like, that's what I want. Like, that's what I'm hoping for, is to actually find the release of the pain.
So, I mean, I think my mom would love it, but she bruises easily. So what do you recommend? I only see people like that have the marks on it. I don't see a lot of older people that have it. What do you do different with them? And so how does that all work?
Yeah, I have clients that come in that are in their 60s. I have everybody from my kids are as young as 6 and 9, and I don't recommend it. My 6-year-old doesn't love it as much, but my 9-year-old does. But even my older clients, I don't put as much pressure for them sometimes unless they feel like they can handle it. But, because their skin's a little bit more fragile.
How long do the bruises often last, Rebecca?
It very depends on each person, because my yoga people and my people from jiu-jitsu, they sweat a ton. So theirs are gone instantly. The people who are constantly drinking a lot of water, they're flushing it out way faster. But some people, it'll last a lot longer. But it's also depending on are you drinking? Are you drinking alcohol?
But it can last up to a week, the little marks.
Yeah,
the cut
but
marks.
some people it will last a little bit longer if they bruise a little bit more. There's a lot of factors.
That's gotta be hard though when you have your kids do it and they go to school. Did you get beat up?
Yeah.
No, it's all equal marks. It's all cupping.
Well, and everybody, our constant joke, the parents always joke with their kids that they got attacked by an octopus because they're a bunch of circles.
Like that. That's funny. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it just varies for everyone.
So it's just kind of that newer thing that we got to get on board with.
Yeah, and so many people are doing it now. You might as well just try it. It's not going to hurt you. It's not something that's going to be like, oh, I don't ever want to do that again, or that was the worst decision ever. It's not something that's like that. You're and some people don't love it. Some people, it's a lot for them, especially if you have problematic areas. It's a lot for them. But majority of people, I find, they find it to be very beneficial.
Well, especially if you said that's immediately relieving pain. This seems almost better than going to a chiropractor.
It goes hand in hand. I tell people that they need the chiropractor too, because the chiropractor is your skeletal. So that's your structure. So this affects everything around your structure. So this is your muscles and the tissue and everything. So they're almost so different, it's and even acupuncture is for our nerves and things like that. They all carry different things, but they're all going to be beneficial for your body.
And then we don't really go over price on the show, but what's the ballpark figure that things like this often cost?
Yeah, so it's I charge $90 for a 60-minute session, which is pretty close to what massage therapy is going to be too. I also do 90-minute sessions. Those are about $130, but I do compressions.
Well, people only need him just once a month. That's not a big deal at all. That's not bad.
Especially if you're in fitness. It's a game changer for if you're in fitness, because we are putting our body through heck all the time.
All the time.
So, and think of your body as like a car. This is getting you from place to place. You put gas in your car, you change your oil, we take care of our car. Why would you not take care of your body in that same sense if you're constantly putting that work in on your body?
So this is something that would make a great gift as well for people to try. Mm-hmm. And then is there anybody that's not supposed to come to you if they have a certain medical problem?
I've never ran into something to where it's like...
They've never said oh, if you have this or that, or diabetes or something, or anything with the heart, it doesn't matter?
If you have lack of circulation to where your circulation isn't moving as fast, then you are going to have those the cupping marks a lot longer. So some people don't like that. So it's not as fun for them, but it's still beneficial. They use it in the Chinese method of healing for whenever people are sick, they'll cup their stomachs to pull out the toxins from their stomach. It's been around
interesting
for a long time.
Have you ever tried that on yourself?
I haven't. I've thought about it.
I would think for cramps that'd be just fun to kind of try.
Right? Cramps, oh my gosh. I have these hip compressions, and these hip compressions feel like a blood pressure cuff, and it is my favorite to wear when I'm cramping. Literally, because it just squeezes you so tight around your hips that it's and then it releases and squeezes and releases. It feels amazing. amazing.
So what's your information that we can like your Insta, all that, so we can look you up and see what you're about?
Yeah, so my IG is Divine Healing by Courtney. And it'll have my website, it'll have some videos, everything like that.
Where are you located?
I'm off of Herndon and Willow in the Target Shopping Center at Sola. Yeah.
How often? And like 7 days a week, 5 days a week?
I am there 4 days a week because my schedule's a little bit crazy with having 3 kids and
Are there
stuff.
other people there too?
Yeah, well, this place is, I have my own shop, I have my own room. So how Solo works is, it's like a big shopping center for self-care. So there's like 22 rooms in there, but we're all like hairstylists, estheticians, massage therapists,
Sounds like a
eyelash
one-stop
techs.
shop.
Exactly, exactly. I love it.
Well, we will definitely have to come check you out. And thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh I must confess dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend. Playing pretend, playing pretend, ooh, playing pretend.
It's a mystery.